Well, good morning, everybody. This is Jim Benson, and I'm like to welcome you here to our Juniper Aspect demonstration webinar. Appreciate you taking the time to attend and to see this. In order, I understand people are busy and time is precious. So what we're going to do is go through the system. I'm going to give you a little presentation and a demonstration. And during this time, Adrian Welch, one of our senior project or support engineers, will be taking questions. Just use the question box on your screen, and he'll answer those. If we don't get to all of the questions before the end of the webinar, just rest assured that we will get back to you and answer them. And also, after the session, if you have any questions or need any additional information, feel free to give us a call here at Juniper. Happy to talk to you anytime. What I like to do really is to start out with just give you a little bit of history. I know some of you, we have a combination of people attending this webinar, and there has been a really good turnout, which is always good to see, ranging from existing customers to potential customers. And so I want to start out by just giving you a little bit of background on Juniper Systems, who we are, what we do, and I want to just show you kind of the history of the company. In one form or another, the company's been around really since the early 70s. Juniper Systems is a Campbell Scientific company, and the Campbell started Campbell Scientific clear back in the early 70s. And one of the things that they did back then, if you're not familiar with Campbell Scientific, they create and manufacture various types of data loggers. Everything from sensors that go on paved roads to detect ice, to sensors that go on satellites, to weather stations. And during this time, they decided that they needed to have handheld computers to use in the field to go out and collect data from their data loggers. And so they actually created the first handheld computer in 1981. And then over the years continued to refine those and release new ones. And in 1993, Ron Campbell, one of the brothers, founded a company called Harvest Master. Harvest Master was named as such because their main product market was the agricultural industry, and they made grain gauges that would mount on combines, and they were used to collect data on test harvests. Seed companies and the like would use them. And they were driven at that time by handheld computers. Now, Harvest Master still exists and is very much a major part of Juniper Systems. But in 2001, the handheld business had expanded such that we were in a number of different areas, and so the name of the company was changed to Juniper Systems. And since then, we've continued to design and release and manufacture a variety of handheld products, all of which are designed to be used in a rugged environment, in an unfriendly outdoor environment, if you will. Our equipment is built to take the abuse that it gets when it's being used in these harsh environments, hot, cold, wet, windy, dirty, muddy. That's what they're designed for. We know they're going to get dropped. They're going to leave them on the top of the truck and drive away. But that's our market. That's what we design things for. We serve a number of different core markets at Juniper Systems. Everything from natural resources and geomatics to industrial and military. Again, the one thing these particular markets have in common is that they have a need for ultra-rugged mobile computing, and that's the market that we serve. One of the main focuses here at Juniper is quality. When you're building a product that's used for mission-critical data collection, it has to be reliable, and people have to know that they can go out in the field with it and count on it when they're collecting data in these harsh environments. So every single handheld that we manufacture here is tested before it goes out the door. We build our products to the IP67 standard for water and dust, so they are basically submersible, and they're built to the MIL standards for humidity, water, sand, dust, vibration, shock, drop, all of the things that the units are subjected to in the field. We currently serve customers in over 50 countries around the world in various industries. And Juniper, one of the things that I think is very nice is that it's one of the few products, handheld products, that's actually manufactured in the USA. Our products are made here in Logan, Utah. We design them, we manufacture them, market them, sell them, and support them from our office here. The neat thing about that, I think, is the fact that our engineers, our production and purchasing people, our quality people have managed to create a system here where we can actually manufacture the products, maintain the quality standards that we desire, and still be very cost competitive with our competitors who manufacture in Mexico or in Pacific Asia. So I just think that's something that we're very proud of. Our current production output exceeds 10,000 handhelds per year, which certainly isn't Apple, but it's respectable for a company that manufactures to serve a market like this. We service more than 5,500 companies around the world, and markets and applications include a huge variety of different things. And these just listed here are a few of the things that some of the more exotic applications that we have provided hardware for. Juniper Aspect is a software product, and we conceived this product about 2.5 years ago. Originally, the product was designed around the needs of the landscape and property management industry, specifically for irrigation systems. Most commercial irrigation systems have no as-built documentation. Maintenance of these systems at commercial buildings, condominiums, parks, different places that have large irrigation systems have no documentation. So the main purpose of the system was to give a tool to these individuals that would allow them to utilize GPS in a handheld to find or locate the various components of these systems, document it, take the GPS coordinates of it, and to be able to produce as-built documentation. As we developed the system, we set out with a couple of very specific criteria in mind. And one was we needed to make it easy to use and easy to understand. The reason we did this is because there are a number of extremely good GIS applications on the market today, very, very advanced and sophisticated, but we wanted to focus on the market of the non-technical, non-GIS customers and really work to bring the benefits of GIS and put it in the hands of workers that could benefit by it. Irrigation technicians, street maintenance workers, the kind of people that are in the field and know what they're working with, give them the ability to use GIS to document and maintain whatever the asset is in the field that they're working for. So that was the goal, was to make it easy to use, make it finger friendly so that it was readable, it was usable in the field, and make it flexible. The flexibility aspect of it is something that we wanted to maintain, simply because nobody does anything the same. Everybody has different things that they want to record or assets that they want to document. So we designed the system around using databases to describe and maintain our objects that we're going to map. So the system you can create as many databases as you want for any type of object or asset that you have in the field. And again, our whole goal with this system is designed to put the power of GIS into the hands of non-GIS workers. And I think we've been successful in doing that. The system is made up of really three components. The rugged handheld computer, of course, and that's something that obviously plays a major role of that in collecting the data. The mobile software that goes on that to allow it to be usable and easy to use, and the desktop software that allows you to manage products or projects, maintain your databases, and present and publish the results of the work you've done in the field.
Ken?
Yes.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Is it possible for you to speak up a little bit?
I'm sorry. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Hope you can hear me. I'm using a headset here. I'm hoping it's working well. But we'll have Adrian tell me again if there's any problems hearing. The Aspect system runs on a number of different mobile devices. Of course, our own Juniper products, the Archer, our new Archer 2 that will be coming out this fall, the Mesa, rugged notepad, and really any Windows Mobile system, as long as it's running Windows Mobile 6 or greater and runs in a native portrait mode. So we invite our customers, if they already have mobile hardware, they can just simply run it on what they have. Hopefully, when they're ready to get new hardware, they'll come to Juniper for that. This just simply lists some of the features of the handhelds that we use in this. Two of the big features, and I think are very helpful with the system, are the color camera and the use of our geotagging, meaning that when you record an image of a particular object you're mapping, the system tags that image or embosses that image with the date, the time, the latitude, and the longitude you were when you took the picture. So that's something that makes documentation of assets much more meaningful and much more graphical. The system will run, if you have internet access in the field, you can use that. It will use it to download background imagery on the fly as you go. If you don't have internet access in the field, the system does allow you to cache that imagery using the desktop software and preload it into the handheld so that you can run totally standalone. We currently allow about 3,000 square meters of imagery to be cached to the handheld, so you can predefine your product or your project and go out and map it with imagery for a reference. The system has been very, very popular among users, simply because it's putting the power of GIS in the hands of field crews and maintenance technicians. It's simple and it's easy to use, and it's really a a good way for these people to be able to be more efficient, be more effective, and control their assets, or control the assets that they're actually responsible for. The system has grown a lot over the last 2.5 years, simply by virtue of its flexibility or the versatility of the system. And what we've listed here are just a number of applications that people are currently using the system, or jobs that the people are using the system to do. And again, if you look at these, it's very, very clear that really anything that you have an asset in the field that you need to locate, you need to document, and you need to inspect, the system provides a very, very good tool for doing that. And so we started out, like I said, just doing irrigation systems, and pretty soon that expanded into tree inventories and tree maintenance, and then snow removal and water audits, and then people started using it to do things like street light inventories, sewer inspections, or smoke testing, vegetation management. It's just anything you've got to go out and record, you can do with the system. The system comes in two varieties. Our standard variety, which is sort of an entry level, just uses a single database, just for very basic mapping, only runs on our Archer. And the professional series that gives you all the features and functions, including background imagery and a variety of different background maps that you can use, multiple databases. This information is available on our website, or if you'd like to have more information, just let us know and we'd be happy to send it to you. Also, after we're through with this, please feel free, if you'd like to go to this particular web address, you can download a preview copy of the system. And that's just designed so that you can see how it's laid out, what it has to offer, including if you wanted to try and just load it on your mobile device, that's fine too. Very doable. So anyway, that's that for the presentation. What I'd like to do now is just take a minute and start to show you some of the features of the system, how it's laid out and designed, and how it works. Let's start with the handheld. I've got my Mesa here on my desk and showing it to you on the screen, and you'll see that the main screen for the Aspect system is very simple. Really, when you're in the field, you're only doing a couple of things. You're either going to create a new project and map objects and document them, or you're going to go to an existing one and map it. We do have some settings here that allow the user to do some things a little easier. GPS, these are just to set it for the unit that you have so that we know what GPS receiver we're using. The About simply shows us the registration information, contact information for the system. The geometry collection is one that gives the user some flexibility and help. You have the ability to measure things in feet or meters. It does do point averaging. If you're taking a single point, you can tell it you would like it to, instead of taking one point and recording it, you can say, in this case, 8 or 9 or 10 or 20, however many you want, to take those different points, average them, and give you hopefully a better location, better lat long, more accurate lat long. You can set the PDOT, which is simply a measurement of the quality of reception, like a golf score. The lower the better. Depending on where you are, what kind of environment you're in, if you're under tree canopies, next to buildings, and so on, you can adjust this. Collection mode is one that, again, just to make it easy for a customer to or a user to collect lines and polygons. And for example, you can collect lines or polygons very easily manually by simply going to the first point in a polygon, let's say where my arrow is, and you take a point, you walk to the next corner and take a point, you walk to the next one, and so on until you've finished. It completes the polygon for you and gives you the length of the area and the area calculation of the polygon. Or you can tell it, I've got a very irregular type of a line or polygon that I want to take, and so by time or by distance, you can say, all right, every 3 seconds or every 4 seconds, once I start, just take points. So when the guy's walking, he simply says start, and then he starts to walk. And every 4 seconds, it's going to take a point, and just follow him around wherever he goes in whatever pattern. And when he finishes, he has his completed line or his completed polygon, and he's ready to move on to the next thing. Again, this is just things that we provide for people to make their job easier, make it more flexible for them to use. Now, as far as working with it, working with projects, one of the things that you'll notice with the system as it brings up different menus, the icons are very large, very easy to see. We've designed them so that they're more usable outdoors. If anybody hasn't ever been out in the middle of a rainstorm or on a bright sunny day or whatever trying to enter data on a computer, if you've done that, you'll appreciate this, because simply you've got a list of projects here, and these are the icons. They're huge, so that you can use your finger. You can use a stylus, of course, if you want to, but it is finger friendly. So anywhere on this icon, let's say we want to edit this particular project we have out here, and we'll select that. This happens to just be a project that we worked on. It's in Virginia, just not far out of Washington, D.C. But it's just one that we were demonstrating and showing a number of different things. When it brings up the project, it loads the base map that I've cached for this area, and it also brings up everything on the system that's been recorded for this project. The system is going to break all of these different objects or object types into layers. And you have layer control so that you can say, look, on the handheld, maybe I don't need to see labels. Or on this particular project, I don't need to see a background area. I don't need to see a combined sewer, but I want to see the rest of it, so that we apply that, and it allows you to just have on your screen the items that you're interested in working on. Control of the system, very, very simple. You touch the hand, and you can pan very easily. You touch the plus, and you can zoom into an area simply by drawing a square around it with your finger. You zoom out the same way by drawing a square with your finger. If you're wanting to get back to an extent that will allow you to see everything that's been recorded for that particular project, or all of the objects, you can simply press the icon that's zoomed to extent, and it takes you back there. You can select an object. If you want to do something with that particular one, you're allowed to edit it. You can delete it. You can navigate to it. So very, very simple, very straightforward. And I said earlier that when we're using the system, everything is geared around a database or object files. And what we've done is we've allowed for the creation. Now, this is an end user can create these files very easily, but you can have as many databases as you want on the handheld. For example, we've got everything here from people that just want to background borders or areas. For example, they wanted to do turf areas or hardscape areas, or they want to just map particular sections of sidewalks. They can do that with a catalog for irrigation parts, manhole inspections, road signs, tree inventory, street lights. Anything that you want to define, you can define in the database and very easily do that. So let's pick one. We'll pick a road sign, for example. Let's say you want to map or inspect particular road signs. What we've done is we've said, to keep these straight, we've broken these down into object types. For example, we got address signs, handicap signs, highway signs, miscellaneous, no parking, etc. Each one of these object types will create a specific layer on the map. So you're able to turn them on and off. So for example, if you collect all these signs, when you get back to your desktop and you just want highway signs, you can turn off everything else and just show highway signs. You can do the same thing on the handheld. So for example, if we wanted to map a handicap sign, we'd simply select that. We've broken it down here so we can say what is the type of sign. Well, let's say it's a tow-away sign. There's only one. We'll select that, and now we're at a point here with the system where we're ready to map this. In order to map it, or to collect the GPS locations, we simply stand over top of the object that we're going to map and tap the screen. When we do that, it comes up and says, here's what I'm going to call that. Now it takes the handicap signs label from the database, so you can control that. You can make it as short or long as you want. The reason it says number 4 is because this happens to be the 4th one that we've mapped on this project, so it automatically increments it for you. Or you can just take and change this to whatever you want. Once you've selected the label, you simply tell it to map it, and it's going to go out and get the GPS location for this. Now, I'm sitting in my office, and the red square tells me that I have no GPS, and you can see that I have no satellites. Normally, this would take the point, you would look at it, and you would then move on to the next. Now, in a situation like this, we've also given the customer the option of saying, hey, for some reason, I don't have GPS in this particular area that I'm standing in. I can say, I just want to add this point right there. And I touch the screen, and I have managed to put that point right there. It then takes you to a section in the screen. This, again, is all defined by the end user, where you go through and start entering your attributes. So if you're doing an inspection, you've created drop-downs to say what, is the visibility good? Is it obstructed? What's the condition? Does it need to be replaced? You can write comments. Anything you want to ask in here, you can do that. Save the information. Now, at this point, you can either edit that geometry, rechange or re-edit those attributes, or you can capture an image. That image would be tied to this particular object that you're mapping. When you're done, you simply save it, and you're ready to move on to the next object that you're going to map. Now, as we do that, we continue to go back to our databases. We can select other objects or other things that we're going to map. If we wanted to do a manhole, for whatever reason we're going to map a manhole and do an inspection, we'll say it's a combined sewer. We'll say it's on a paved surface. And again, this is all set up by the by the user, and you're ready to map again. You're ready to go through the exact same process that we just completed. In order to make this more efficient for the end user, we keep up to 3 of the most used objects available. So for example, a lot of this type of work is very repetitive. If you're doing manholes on a street, you're going to do one and inspect it, do another one and inspect it, and do another one and inspect it. So rather than having to go back into the object file, it allows you to just select that here and then go ahead and collect your data for it. Or if I wanted to go back to the no parking sign, I can do that, and I'm ready to map that here. It keeps up to 3 of these object types with a number of objects that you're using under those. So you might have the whole list of all of the no parking signs, or both manholes for paved and unpaved, or whatever. But again, all of this is just designed to try to make it easier and more efficient for the end user. And that's really all there is to the handheld. That's what you're doing. You're simply going out, finding assets in the field, documenting their location, and inspecting or collecting information about each of those. So the handheld, very simple. Remember I said if we're creating a new project in the field, we can do that, and if we have internet access, it'll allow you to download background imagery for that. If you don't, you can just simply map it without that and then overlay it on the imagery when you get back to the office. All right. One thing I'd like to point out with the Mesa is that, again, this is the Windows mobile device. This runs actually Windows Embedded Handheld 6.5, and it will work on virtually any device that runs this 6.0 or better operating system. So you still have all of the features that you have with a Windows mobile device for using it in other applications. Let's move over to the desktop. The desktop software, again, is designed to work in the same easy, simple to use, simple to understand mode. What we're dealing with here basically is a few tools, check for updates, which is one where Juniper continually provides enhancements and updates to its software. In fact, just this week we've released a new version of the software, our version 2.1, that has some really cool feature enhancements that customers have requested, and things that we've added to make their jobs easier and more efficient. So those come up. They're automatically provided, bug fixes, enhancement releases, updates. Preferences, simply whether you want to work in feet or meters, and about keeping in mind that both on the handheld and the desktop there is always a complete user's manual available, and easy to look up, easy to use, probably one of the better user's manuals I've ever seen for a product that's been launched. It's written with a lot of graphics, screenshots, so that it's easy to go to a function. If you have a question about it, it tells you exactly what you're going to see and what you need to do. Mobile install, this is simply to initially set up your mobile device and load the software, or if there's updates available, well, once you've downloaded them, you can update your handheld. Catalogs. The catalog databases really are a major element of the system. These are set up so that when we have a handheld connected like we do here, it goes out and it looks at the handheld and it looks at your desktop, and it's going to tell you if these particular databases are in sync. And so it looked at them, and in this particular case they all are. If one had been changed on the desktop, it would come up yellow and say that you need to synchronize this um, catalog with the handheld. So let's look at one of these so that you can see kind of how it's laid out. I'm going to look at the irrigation one, and the reason is because it's a fairly large one, and it'll give you a good feeling for how much data or how little data you would want to put into a database. This is probably one of the busiest screens you'll see in the system, and the reason for that is it centers around these tools right here. All you're really going to be doing is you're either going to be creating a new object type, or you're going to be creating an object within that object type. Very simple. Object types, again, are layers on the map. And you can see that in this particular database, we've selected that each component type that we have is a layer on the map. So we can say backflow devices. And this section over here simply lists all of the backflow devices that we have currently stored in our database. When we do this, we set up catalog attributes that we already know about the object. In other words, we know that if we're going to go do a backflow device, we can select a watts. We know that this is the series number, this is the part number, this is the description. We can put in here price, we can put in our own part number, bin number, whatever we want, and this automatically gets stored with each time we actually map this object. Keep in mind that when we're doing this, we're creating maps, and the idea is to make it as meaningful as possible to somebody when they're looking at the map. So we allow you to control the type of icon you see. We give you a number of choices. For example, we can say, as we've done here, we'd like to select an icon, and there's a bunch of standard icons that we provide that you can use if you want. Or if you don't, you can just do a simple icon, which is either a square or a circle. You can put a border on it, a black border, or make it thick or thin, or however you want. You can choose the color, pick from any color. If that's not good enough, you can just, go to a whole color palette and pick one that you really like and call it that, and there it's your color. Or if you don't like that, you can always create a custom icon. And to do that, you just simply look out on your PC and say, let's make that into an icon. I want to have that as my icon. And there it is. You've created it. Now, you can make these very small depending on what you're trying to depict. You can make them very large or anywhere in between. So, again, flexibility, just allowing you to present things in a manner that's very easy to understand and meaningful when you're presenting information. The attributes, when you're identifying something on a handheld, in other words, when you're trying to select a part, it gives you the option of choosing any three of these object attributes that you've defined. So, for example, you can say I want price, or I want schedule description, or I want series, part number. Whatever you decide, you can display on the handheld. That's what they'll see when they select that object. Catalog attributes, this is simply where we define what it is we're going to store for each particular object in the file. And in-field attributes is where you define what it is or what questions you want to ask in the field, what data you want to collect in the field. You can collect attributes that are straight text or numbers or a decimal or a date that you want keyed in, or you can create drop-downs in your database so that you control what answers are given on certain questions. Again, you're allowing them to make a choice rather than having to type something in. So it can be a yes or no. In this case, it's okay, broken, not working, installed backwards. You can ask whatever questions you want, and you can ask how many. It doesn't matter how many questions, as many as you want, you can ask. We have an application where they're doing manhole inspections, and the NASCO standard for doing those inspections, I believe, calls for over 30 different questions to be asked when they map a manhole. And they're able to put that in here easily and use it. Now, excuse me. In addition to that, you can also import and export these databases into CSV files. And the reason we do that is so that if you have a very large database, this particular database that we're looking at has about 2,000 parts in it. And so if I wanted to make a mass change to that, I could easily export that, open it with Excel, add attributes because we've set it up so that you can put headings. You could add attributes. You could add parts, part types, questions, in-field attributes, anything you want. Close it up, import it, and your changes are made. Or even create a new database in Excel. A good example was that I wanted to have a sample tree catalog, and I didn't know. So I went out to the internet and found a file or a website that had a list of all of the different tree types with a bunch of information about it, you know, their proper name, their areas that they were found, and all different kinds of stuff. So I just copied that into an Excel file. I added the headings that were appropriate for that. I added a bunch of questions or in-field attributes, you know, measure the or estimate the canopy, estimate the caliper, what's its health condition, does it need to be pruned, all of that stuff. And then imported that, assigned some icons, and inside of 20 minutes I've got an 800 tree database ready to go. So again, just more features that are provided to make this easy for the end user to set up and use and maintain. Beyond the databases, we simply have projects that we're going to maintain. When we open these project files, and we have a handheld connected, same as we did with the object databases, the system goes out and looks at all of the projects that we have on the handheld, all of the projects that we have on the desktop, and determines their status. In other words, have updates been made? Where have they been made? Do they match? Do we need to synchronize them? And it's going to display this project list and tell us, all right, here we go. This particular project can be copied to the desktop because it doesn't exist on the desktop, just on the handheld. This only exists on the handheld, so it can be, or on the desktop, so we could copy it to the handheld if we wanted. See, here we go with one that's one that has been synchronized. There's been no changes made to the data, so it's a full synchronization function on here. And what that means is, in addition to being able to delete or change the titles or copy your base map, you can synchronize these even to the point where if you were to, say, have a very large project that you were working on, you could actually put the same project into 3 or 4 different handhelds and send them out. Each guy with a handheld is mapping different segments or different parts of a project. At the end of the day, when you bring them back, you synchronize each one of them and then reload them, and you've got updated, complete project. The combination of all 3 or 4 of those handhelds, data has been added to this project, and you're ready to go out and do it again the next day. So very handy. And very comprehensive. So if you, when you're synchronizing, there's a problem, it's just like any sync function. If you have changes made to the same object on both the desktop and the handheld, it's going to ask you, choose which one you want to save. So this particular project, same one we were looking at on the handheld, so that you can see now on the desktop, when you're running the desktop software, it's going to download a fresh background image each time you open it. So your desktop does need to have internet connection. It needs it for imagery, and it needs it to verify your licenses. But again, we've made this so that the tools available are the tools that we use here, very, very simple and straightforward. Same as the handheld. We can just drag it to pan. We can zoom in by drawing a square around the area we want to zoom to. We can zoom out the same way. We can zoom back to the project extent where it shows us everything that we've mapped for that project. We can also control the base map. The system, the professional version of the system, comes with both Bing and Esri imagery available. This is showing you the world imagery from Esri. If we wanted to say, well, what does it look like in Bing? There we go, pretty similar. You could do a road map for the imagery, hybrid map. You can do the street map from Esri, topographical, whatever fits your need. The reason that we have both providers in the system, firstly, so you don't have to worry about where you get your imagery, and secondly, we have found that in certain areas, one imagery is better than the other, especially if you're going to work on projects where you're going to zoom in. So, for example, with big imagery, if we zoom in with that, you can see that it doesn't allow us to get as close as we want to. The imagery isn't available. But in this case, and this is in Virginia, the Esri imagery does. What we found is that in almost every instance, if you have an area where one is bad, the other one is typically good, and vice versa. It's becoming more and more as updates are made to where both of them are good. But anyway, we provide the options so you can get the best possible imagery to use with your system. We manage objects. Remember I said objects or object types create layers. And so with those layers on here on the desktop, we're allowed to do a number of different things. We're allowed to filter data. I'll come back to that. We can make things visible or invisible by checking. We can turn labels off and on, turn them all off, we turn them all on. We can make objects selectable or not selectable. In other words, once we have a map that has data the way we want it, we don't want it to be moved, changed, or altered, we can just uncheck that and it locks it for the from any changes in the future until we decide to let them happen. So just to guard against mistakes. A good example here of how filters would work, for example, let's just pick a tree. Now, you've got all of this data on the map, and what you're able to do, because you have layers, is you're able to simply turn them off and on and just show particular items that you want to depict. So, for example, if you wanted to just show trees, you could say, well, let's make everything invisible except the trees. All right? Now, you can see here that we've got some trees visible. The next thing you want to do is you say, I want to select specific ones. Now, this particular one has one already selected. It says that only show this tree. And again, if you can choose from any attributes that are available, if the condition is equal exactly to, or you could say not equal to, dead. When you apply that, now you're going to get every tree on here that's not dead. Or you go back in and say, look, I want every tree that's not only not dead, but we can say, and I want ones that need pruned is equal to yes. So now we've got all those trees listed. Again, it's designed so that you can take any number or combination of attributes on any object and select data to be presented. So for example, if you want a map that has depicts all of the trees that you need to have pruned on this project, you can do that. If you want to see all of the, let's say you've done manhole inspections, all of the manholes that have both sunken more than 2 inches and have lids with more than 4 holes, you can get a map of that. You can do as many as you want, and it's just a tool to allow you to create even more meaningful and usable data, especially for field workers who are going to go out and deal with all of this stuff or have to maintain it. Let's go back here and show you one more thing. You also have the ability on these to control, for example, areas here. We've mapped some areas, and you can control the opacity of any object by simply sliding the scale to make it more or less visible, so that you can actually use it to see overlaps, as we've done here in coverage areas, or you can see what's actually under the item that you've mapped. Again, tools just to make it more presentable and more usable. You can zoom to objects. For example, if you want to zoom to the sewer or the handicap signs, doesn't matter what, but whatever you want to go to, you can zoom to it just to find things. We also allow you to import data from a CAD file. It allows you to take a DWG file and import it to be used as your background imagery. So for example, if you had a CAD drawing and you were going to go out and install something according to that, you could actually do that and use the handheld to map or overlay the objects that you were installing. The one thing that you have to remember is that when you do that, the DWG file has got to be georeferenced in the Esri format, but most all CAD programs have that available. To download a base map, in other words, to cache it, if I'm going to define a project, I would probably zoom out and say, look, I'm going to work in this general area here, and say I'm going to cache all of the data I see on this screen by simply selecting download that map. Again, I said we've set a limit of 3,000 square meters, but that's kind of arbitrary. It's just a matter of how long it takes. So back to the extent here, editing data on the desktop. Again, very simple. If we want to select an object, we can simply select it, and at that point we can edit the attributes, where we can change or add information to it. If the object has a photograph with it, we can see what those are. Now keep in mind you can store up to 5 different photos for any object, so you can make that. Shows you your attributes. You can edit those, save them. You can actually move the geometry or adjust it. So say, for example, and again, you can do this very same thing on the handheld. You remember I placed an object? Well, I can do the same thing for moving it. For example, I just say, look, I know that this controller belongs here, so if I want to move it, all I have to do is say, move the object, grab it, well, we'll move a tree, and move it to where it's supposed to go. You can also adjust the label so that you can put it wherever you want. You can select that label and make it any color that you want, just to make it more readable against the imagery that you're working with. Or you can actually add any of the objects that you have defined in your database. You can see that we have the same databases here that we had on the handheld, so I can say, look, if I want to add that same handicap sign, and I want to put it right there, I've done it. It gives me the attributes. I can change or add those, save it, and I'm ready to map another one. So you can actually map any object that you have out there as well. Again, editing, very, very simple and easy to do so that you can maintain it. Oh, even with the geometry on areas, for example, you can go to an area, if I can here. For some reason it doesn't want to let me, but you can go to an area and actually edit all of the vertices. I know what I've done. I locked it out. System feature. Now, I can go in and edit all of the vertices that we've collected. You can see that they walked this area and it collected these. So now you can simply adjust it if you want to adjust it, make it better. You can add vertices in between if you want to make it more precise. You can delete them if you want to make it less precise. So you have the ability to adjust it to your imagery. Again, all of these things just designed to easily make this thing more usable and more presentable so that you're presenting meaningful data to customers. Once you've got what you want here, you've got things listed that you want to show on a map, you can generate a report. And that report is available in currently 8.5 by 11 and 11 by 17 sizes. You simply are able to give it a title and various information that just prints in the legend to allow you to identify it. You can add your own company logo here so that it's more personalized. You can put whatever notes you want. And you can include images that you've collected. You can include these at 2 images per page, 4 or 6, depending on how you want to present it. And then it's a matter of selecting what attributes you want to display on here. So, for example, in this, we'll just say pick a few: manufacturer, up to 6 that we collect, and then we can take a look at the thing to see what we're dealing with. Now, once we've done this, you can easily go back and forth and make changes to it and additions to it. But it shows you what your report's going to look like. It gives you the legend, shows you where everything is. Same thing we saw on the screen. Title bar that we've provided. Part summary. Everything's labeled back to the map. And we also have images that are also, as you can see here, tied back to the labels on the map, so you can see what you're collecting images of. And there you have it. So once you have a report now, there's a number of things you can do with it. Of course, you can save it, but you can save it into PDF file format, HTML, any of these. And the reason we do that is to allow you flexibility in how you want to present it to somebody. Maybe you want to do it in an Excel file so that you can add things to it or changes, whatever. It just allows you that flexibility with your report. Again, very simple. So you can simply print it, save it, and how you want. Now, if we go back, in addition to generating reports, we can actually take a project like we've created here and export it into a number of file formats. And the reason we do this is so that you can make data available to either edit, add to other systems, or input to other systems, billing systems, work order systems if you're using CSV files, or you can export data into shape files, KML files, geodatabase files that allow you to export this data into other GIS that are currently operational. A lot of people work for cities or states and they do jobs, or the city or state themselves likes to use this to have their, say, their street maintenance crews collect data, but they can easily then combine that and make it part of their central GIS. So KML files, a great way to communicate with somebody. If you take this particular map, you create a KML file and send it to somebody that has Google Earth, you simply tell them, hey, click on that file and you can see what we've done to your property. And it'll bring up Google Earth and take that particular project and display it for them on Google Earth. Just another way of communicating. Now, we do the same thing with ArcGIS Online. This is an excellent way to bring, publish these maps on ArcGIS Online, because you can actually, when you export shape files with the system, it actually exports them and zips up each layer so you can easily add layers to or eliminate layers from maps that you're creating with ArcGIS Online. So very compatible, very, very good tool to enhance that, and to enhance really any system. If you have an Arc desktop or virtually any GIS that you want to exchange information with, this is a great way to do it. When we do these, we still have, you'll notice, all of our attributes that we've collected are made available here. We don't have the photographs, but we do have all of the attributes. Again, just another good communication tool to be used with the system. Beyond that, I think that's pretty much the majority of the features of the system. We'll just show you one other little feature here. Oh, I did mention this, images. If you have taken images out in the field, it ties each image to a particular object. Now, if for some reason you wanted to have access to those images, you can simply export them, and it puts them into a folder on your PC so that you can access them separately and use them for other purposes. I'll just want to show you one other project here that is just a good illustration of how flexible the system is and how easily it can be used. This one is for manhole inspections. This happens to be just an area in Chicago. We'll zoom in here so you can see. And what they've done here is simply mapped a manhole, inspected it, and then mapped the sewer run from one manhole to the next. Now, this company does power rotting or camera inspections of the particular sewers for people. So they use the handheld to collect the location of the manhole and do the inspection. If you right-click on one of these points on any of your maps, now you can view the data for that particular object, including any photographs that were taken, plus the inspection information that was collected on that particular manhole. It also allows you to store links if you want to, and in this case they do this because somebody might want to select a manhole and say, well, what was the deal? What kind of an inspection does it do? So then they just switch to the video that they took of that section of the pipe. Very easy, very, very simple to use. Again, you can also select any particular object out there, and if you right-click on it, you can look at it, and I can say export it. Let's pick one with a picture here. I can say export it. Got the picture, and now it's going to take and put all of the information that you've collected about that particular object in an Excel file for you, so that you have a way of saying, look, here's this particular manhole that we were working on. Maybe you have something you want to communicate. It includes the photographs, up to 5, and you've got a record of that particular object to use however you want to use for communicating the information. Again, just nice little features that allow you to manage this data, use it, and communicate it. By the way, they also use this in connection with ArcGIS Online, so that those links transfer over, and they can use ArcGIS Online to publish areas of these maps for their customers to go to. They can actually view the inspection imagery as well while they're going through that. So anyway, that's Juniper Aspect. I think you could say that it is a very easy to use system. It's designed for people that actually are in the field, know what they're looking at, and gives them the ability to collect good, accurate data about those. I want to thank you. We've run over a little bit, but I want to thank you for taking the time to attend this. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to give us a call. We can arrange to go into more depth with you on the system. If you'd like to see or run a demo of the system, that can be arranged. And again, feel free to download a preview copy of the system. And thank you for attending, and we'll look forward to talking to you again in the future. Have a good day.